when there's no escape from madness. When your darkest nightmare becomes a reality. There is only one place where you can go. This is the Moonriders podcast. And now, here is your host, Richard Harrison. Hello, one and all, and welcome to the Moonriders podcast, where urban legends come to life and horror takes the wheel. I am your maestro of ceremonies, Richard Harrison, and this is episode 1 of the podcast. Thank you for joining with me. In this podcast, we talk about urban legends and experiences we have with things that go bump in the night. So, with all of that said, let's go on with the show. Our first urban legend for tonight takes place in my hometown of Port Arthur, Texas. Now, everyone knows that Texas has a ghostly history of urban legends. However, this one is ahead of its game. No pun intended. The urban legend is called the Headless Woman of West 7th Street. Enjoy. On February 12, 1983, a woman by the name of Linda Grace was found decapitated on the train tracks of West 7th Street in Port Arthur, Texas. Now, the detectives and the police officers that was on the case is still baffled to this day. Who did it? What was the motive? And most importantly, where is her head? Locals claim that the apparition of Linda Grace would appear between the hours of 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. and would walk naked and headless down the train tracks where she was brutally beheaded. And just like most of the catchy urban legends, children find this amusing, so they made a game out of this called the Linda Head game. Now, the rules of the game is very simple. First, go down West 7th Street and wait until 9 o'clock hits. Secondly, walk down the train tracks with no light and do not stop for any reason. Third, while you're walking, repeat this phrase: Linda Grace, I have your head. I have your head, Linda Grace. And the fourth rule, come alone. Do not bring a crowd. Now, while you're following the rules of the game, a couple of things are rumored to occur. While you're continuously walking down the train tracks, you'll feel a certain cold breeze touch your face, touch the back of your neck. Do not stop. Just keep going. You will certainly feel the sensation that somebody is watching you. Just keep going. Soon you will see a silhouette of a woman, nude and walking toward you. Now you can stop walking. Let the woman come close to you. When she is completely face to neck in front of you, show no fear to her decaying body and say the phrase again: I have your head, Linda Grace. She will then reach out her cold dead hands towards you. At this point, you must not show fear, say anything, or do anything, because now your life is in her hands. Oh, I did forget about one detail. You see, if you have a good heart, she will know. If you have a good mindset, she will know. If you are doing right by your family, or your spouse, or your friends, she will know. And at that point, she will put her cold, dead hand on your shoulder, and then you will hear a woman's voice say,
"Excuse me, sir. You have a good day."
However, if you are cruel, and you have a dark heart, and you're sinful, she will know. And let's just say, life has just ended for you. She will then cut off your head with her sharp fingernails and use your head for her head. And then you would watch and you will feel your body decaying slowly and slowly. But all you will hear at that moment is laughter from her. So if you feel like testing your luck, come down to Port Arthur, Texas, and walk down the train tracks of West 7th Street. There's a girl there who's not afraid to get a little head. Our guest for tonight comes from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and she's here to talk about her experience of a very mischievous spirit. So grab some popcorn, grab a seat, and enjoy Rebecca's tale.
Well, I work in a privately owned barbecue place here in a small town, and a couple months before I started working there, one of the employees passed away, and I didn't know it when I first got hired, but a couple weeks after, they told me that weird things happen, and I kind of have always believed in the paranormal, but I really didn't think anything of it until I started seeing things for myself. For example, within the first few weeks of me working there, it was me and two of my other coworkers, just the three of us. Everybody else had to go out to do something, and we were doing one of the jobs that was on our board, and something fell from inside one of the closet, and when we went inside, all of our pans had just fallen over. Another thing we've had happen, we have a bin full of lids and containers that is pushed way far back, and one day it just fell out without warning. Nobody was over there. We were all on the opposite side. The back door that leads to the back of the restaurant will open and close at random. I have felt people touching me when there's nobody behind me. I've heard my name be called. It's really crazy. We've had the bin with all of the containers and lids has been organized when nobody has touched it. Things have turned off and on by themselves. It's really strange. I really didn't want to believe the place was haunted, but there's so much that happens that you can't explain it.
Thank you, Rebecca, for your testimony. And I do agree, in the paranormal world, there are things we cannot explain, but we have so much fun witnessing it. Well, kittens, if you have a testimony or a story that you would love to share with the class, you can send it to the Moonriders 409tx@gmail.com. Also, if you have a voice recording, that will be added too, if you like. So drop your email to moonriders409tx@gmail.com, all lowercase. We're dying to hear from you. Also, this podcast will be on Stitcher, and if you're not familiar with Stitcher, it's an app that has all shapes and forms of podcasting. My personal favorite is the No Sleep Podcast. Can't get enough of David Cummings and his amazing crew. They really bring the dead back to life. So download Stitcher and look for the Moonriders Podcast. Well, boys and girls, it's time for your old pal to turn in for tonight. But don't worry, we will meet again in the next episode. So tune in every Friday for more urban legends and more testimonies. And remember, wherever there's a moon, there will be the riders.